before we okay, hi everybody. We just start recording, so this is the official start. But before we start today's call, if there anybody that wants to say anything that happened exciting today or on this week or something happened in your life that you want to share, this is the moment. And I see Tom with a smile. So
Yeah. So I've been writing software systems this whole week, and my AIs are helping. And I just wrote a new site. I'll share it with you guys. But essentially, it's for uh, genetic analysis of horses before you breed them. I've got a buddy that has a kind of a marketplace for selling horses, and he came up with an idea, and I gave it a shot. And my robots, you know how they are, they write things fast. So I'll have something in production here for them to look at pretty soon.
nice.
So good fun. And I also got my two Dell Blade servers up and running with Ubuntu, and I have a total of 758 gigabytes of memory, and I am upgrading to 1.5 trillion pretty soon here. So
It's
really,
insane.
it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. Nice.
I also have another announcement. Tom proposed, and many of you were happy with the idea of having a automation kind of domotics meeting. And since we're not having enough meetings every week, we are having this on Fridays at 8. So close, step by step, Resonant OS is taking over your life.
Zero, what's the automation? What's the subject? Like, how does that work?
I'm gonna defer this to Tom because I will sound like I'm making it up if I answer that.
It's what we talked about yesterday. The gentleman was talking about his integration with HomeKit, and
Right, got it.
it's
Yep,
just a HomeKit home automation nerd discussion.
sweet. I'm there.
Nice. All right. So, anybody else wants to introduce or share anything? I see. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm gonna try. Jenny, Jeannie, Jen. So one of those.
Hey, how you doing? First time here. Just wanted to drop in. Like your channel. Also modder. Playing around with AI, so just seeing what's around. Try and keep up.
Thank you, and pleasure to have you here.
And
Uh,
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. If anybody's interested.
yeah, I was just about to ask. It's nice to see. There's a lot of people from different parts of the world, and it's
Yeah, I
good
would
to yeah,
imagine.
it's good to see where
I mean,
people are
AI is
actually.
global, so why wouldn't there be?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So today it's just for those that are new, like Chimo would say, we have a lot of different calls, almost once per day, or maybe we do have 5 calls every a week now, and
Yeah, I
each one
see
of
in the chat.
yeah, each one of them has a different theme. So today is the one that more connected to the philosophy, the human side of the experience of working with AI, and the DAO, our dreams, what we want to build, and so on. Okay, so it's less about the tech, which was yesterday. Yesterday is mainly Resonant OS and the AI and all the technology. Today it's about the us as a human, what we want, what we feel, what we want to do, how we want to build this community. And the DAO, uh, nice to meet you. I'm so bad with names. I would love to know the pronunciation of every name, but I think it's Shaun from my from Hawaii. Nice to have you here. Um, so yeah, so today I before I start what I have in my mind. If anybody wants to share anything about, this human interaction, if there is anything that you care about, or the DAO, or the community, anything. Sal.
Hey guys, I realized I was thinking about it this week. I keep hanging around, and I don't know if people really know why, because I'm not a tech guy, but I'm a dreamer. So I thought, why don't today I just share a little bit about like what my dreams are for all of this. So I worked in Haiti, 2 different stints, and I really got to love the country, and also it was really hard to live there. And it's just so broken. The country is so broken. They have they have French and Creole are the two basic languages. It's a French Creole, and there's so much need there. There's so much human suffering. The, when a little child grows up, they have basically, if they're poor, they have basically no opportunity to get ahead in the world because they have to pay money to go to school. So when I was there, I started in 2000, and then I was there for a few years. And then after the earthquake in 2010, I went back. And I really feel like the development community, after the earthquake, it was very terrible. It was a terrible place to be. But there's some really great things about Haiti that I love. And one of them is you can drop down anywhere in the country, anywhere. And at that spot, you'll say to somebody, where's there a market? And they'll say, there's a market this far over here on Thursdays and this far over here on Saturdays. They have like such incredible food security in that country that when the earthquake happened, they could all go to their aunts and uncles and cousins and grandmas and parents, and they all were able to eat. 2 million people left the capital city and they could eat. But what they don't have is like education, and they don't have opportunities. They don't even have like literature written in their language. And so I'm very interested because I still go into Haiti, but I can't go to the capital city anymore because they will kidnap me or it's very dangerous. So I sneak across the border. I go about 4 times a year, and I'm trying to develop a program far off in the mountains where I get the great coffee I've talked about a couple times. But there's so many opportunities, for instance, to just like bring in all kinds of ways to translate texts into their Creole language because there's none. There's almost no reading. There's a little school that I'm a part of. I've been trying to help out in the mountains. They have 150 kids. They have no literature. They have no way of paying for their teachers, and the students can't pay because the parents can't get their food to market because of the gangs in the capital city. All this stuff's going on, right? Well, I just know that through something like Resonant OS and the community that you can build here, that you can present opportunities for people to participate in like really life-changing work. And even like, somebody wants to build a program where we can like find lots of literature that people are willing to allow to be translated, or even like things that are out of copyright. And we could like create libraries full of books for kids to learn that have never had the opportunity. And it's amazing when these kids have an opportunity to go to school, they're so thankful and they devour literature if they get it. So that's sort of why I'm sticking around, because I just know that this can help me help people. That's my spiel.
I have a question. Since Creole is, as a language, it's pretty well defined, so AI could be used to translate pretty much anything for them. So what is the
Oh
issue
yeah.
with that? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
they could
use I
literally log on to Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, tell me about this book in whatever language.
yeah.
So yeah, that seems like AI is for education. It's the great equalizer. And,
Yeah, in the
things look
mountains
good.
they don't have internet, they don't even have cell phone service. I mean, it
Okay,
costs four
it's a
thousand
cost
dollars.
issue.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's a cost issue because I don't know about over there. At least in the US, we have 5G internet straight from satellite now. Obviously, not as good as not as good as fiber, but it's something. Plus, Starlink could be used. Set up a large. Set up a five. Not even 5G, 4G. Get a used one. There's
Yeah.
solutions to this. The technology, they're not that expensive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Especially
not
with the
expensive. It's not expensive for us, but it's kind of impossible for them. So at this stage, is from my understanding, it's about. I mean, at least for what you say,
so what's
Sal.
the bottleneck here?
Second, sorry.
What is the bottleneck? What is the limiting factor? The
Extreme
cost?
poverty. They are in extreme poverty. It's like you need to work a lifetime to pay for Starlink.
Yeah, I
It's just not
understand.
doable.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get it for an individual, but let's say for a community of, these places are usually pretty densely populated. So if you set up one 4G hotspot, yeah, they're not going to have the best signal everywhere, but you could cover thousands of people.
You're right. The thing I'm thinking about, I think for $5,000 you can put a radio station in the mountains where I go, and there's no electricity, there's no running water. You have to go to sort of like the provincial
Okay,
county
so
or
I got
the
it. All
provincial
the problems
capital
are
to even
solved.
get electricity. Yeah. So I actually have a Starlink unit there sitting in a coffee cooperative waiting for the day that I can set it up. But then you don't have electricity. So
But
I mean, all these problems are solvable, but I get it costs money. So,
little by little.
uh, again, though, if they have internet and if they have learned some skills, they might be able to make money as well. I mean, I
yeah,
get it's a little catch 22. You got to get there, but maybe there's a way to bootstrap it.
yeah. So just a little bit of what I think about this kind of scenario. First of all, total support from me, so I totally with you, Sal. And it would be great. But from my understanding, there is a need for an initial investment to have the minimum infrastructure that you're talking about, which is not expensive because I have Starlink and I power it with solar power. So I know exactly how much it costs to do the whole thing because this is what I pay every month. Therefore, I know it's not too expensive. It's impossible for that scenario. Maybe a community can do it, but probably it's easier for us, even as a group, do a donation and create something much easier. Um but regarding Resonant OS, Resonant DAO, sorry, Resonant DAO has a kind of a treasury, and the community can decide how to spend the money inside the treasury. Now, it's a long journey, though. It's not something that is going to happen this year, and maybe next year, maybe in a couple of years, then we are going to be able in a position to have this kind of initiatives, and definitely we're going to have it because we will find a way to make it profitable for us to do an action of that kind of to help others. Okay, there is always a way. It's all about creativity. Okay, when you spend money, you can connect an idea, create a documentary, create whatever it is. Okay, that then can be content that we could monetize to finance whatever progress there. So there is always a way to do it, but it's a long journey, and we are not there yet as a DAO. But then doesn't mean that as a community we could do anything. So you could put together like a trust or something, and then maybe there are at the moment 850 people inside our community. Even $1 a month, it's more than enough to run the whole thing that you want to run.
I guess part of it is though, like that goes along with what you're saying, as I also feel like I'm very interested in like not always doing like I think it's great to give people opportunity to participate because I think it's good for everybody's soul. Hey, I can be a part of a little child's trajectory. What one little boy or the one little girl that had nothing and then now they have school or they have opportunity. But I also think it's great to be able to use AI to help build businesses, kind of like Tom does, where where like people don't just have to give money. Also, like you could, there are opportunities that people can invest. Like even the idea of like sustainable philanthropy, where it's like you can put a business on the ground somewhere, and that helps the community too. So there's a lot of so like the work of helping is great, but I also, not to get too philosophical, of course that's what the day's for. Um, I think in a lot of ways the missionaries, not to be too hard on any one group, but and development organizations, they've created a culture of dependency. And so when I walk into the country and I meet people, they're like, "Hey, white guy, give me some money." Like that's what I hear 1,000 times. And then I just I now I just ignore it, but I love it when I have opportunities to share people with people ideas that they can help themselves. And if you can build a business that makes sense in that country, there's so much um opportunity there, because just like untapped resources are around every corner in the country. There's so much possibility that even like people in this group would be able to, like, you could come up with business opportunities galore, but nobody goes to that country because why? Why would anyone want to go to Haiti? But I
I
love it
have an
there.
idea.
Hmm?
What about getting public, corporate support? Like for an AI company, like let's say Anthropic, it'd be great advertising. We're bringing AI to a community that never had access to education. We have AI tools that could make, the website, whatever, videos. So, maybe use technology to solve problems of technology.
Yeah, there's always lots of opportunity. I love organic and like small scale, even private opportunities, because I've worked with international NGOs and big corporate structures, and we've created nonprofits, and I've just sort of gone away from it now. And I want things to just make sense just
Is
on the
there any
ground when you're
reason?
there, like a structure that makes sense there. It's not artificial. Because, like these organizations that come in, and that's why I love the idea of the DAO so much, because it just has to make sense and work. And so what I see is, I remember this one, or here's an example. Sorry, now I'm really going off. There was this guy I knew who had this idea to build um, like a latrine system for orphanages, where they would do their business and it would go into these tanks, and then they would have to roll these tanks on rails and create a composting system. I'm like, nobody is going to do this, but they built it anyway. And then when I went to visit this orphanage, they had these like disgusting piles of like basins of human feces. And people have all these great ideas that make sense because they think, oh,
Well,
sustainability.
again, it was a bad investment, but if they invested it in internet infrastructure, it would be that's kind of what you need the initial investment for, because
Right.
that's kind of what needs to get off the ground before you can do anything else. And that seems to require it. So if they could come in, build whatever solar center, backup, whatever it is, and let the people decide.
Yeah, what works really well is when like when I was there in 2010, we were doing emergency structures for people that lost their homes in the earthquake. And all these organizations came in with all these ideas, like spray foam and these special like big companies would come in and try to sell their product as part of the solution. But like what we knew is the Haitians would never adopt anything that they couldn't just find themselves where they were. So I guess I love the goodwill that people have, and so that's sort of why I guess I'm involved, because I think AI, we're in an amazing time in history that we can solve a lot of problems that we couldn't really easily solve before. Because me as just one guy, I can vibe code solutions that I could never have done before. And then you add all the people that like can be part of your project or program or dream. It's amazing how many people can help. So anyway, I won't keep going. Thanks for the time.
No, I get it. AI is a game changer for me too. I'm doing so many projects that before would have been just scattered thoughts and scattered files on Google Drive. Now it actually, you can do something with it. I get that. Hopefully, we'll have a solved world eventually, fingers crossed. None of this would be a problem, but you got to get there first.
Uh, Thank you, Sal. And just for those that just joined now, it sounds like what we're talking about. So today is about the community and what we would like to build and our dreams, our desire for the community. Sal was sharing its uh, idea of helping with AI or other ways as a community, helping Haiti population, and because it's involved there. Uh, as I said, my take here is because of the lack of infrastructure, the cost of infrastructure for us is a little bit complicated, but doesn't mean that we can't do something in the long term. Right now, I think we are not even self-sufficient ourselves. But one thing that for me is clear in that kind of scenarios, it's much easier to make money outside, because it's you do a little action in whatever Western country, let's say, okay, produce much more money that they could do within their country. So if just to make an example, like I said, we could do a documentary, build a school and do a documentary about it. Okay, whatever it is, then the asset that you create, you can sell it outside their country and with the money then pay back. And the gap of what is possible to achieve in that way is huge. Is less. I mean, if you build instead an economy inside that system, it's really difficult. There's a lot of problems, and anyway, you will move little money, which in the long term will make sense. But in the short term, I think it's better to do a kind of action that create some foundings, and then you can do more economy within. And with the with the Resonant DAO, with the token economy we are building, will make also sense to build a DAO, for example, for their country and so on. Tom.
Um, so when I was working with someone a few years back, they had a project, and I don't know if Google just abandoned it for whatever reason, but they were intending to spread the internet using basically air balloons, wireless technology spread through air balloons, which they had it down to a fairly inexpensive deployment, and of course it got past a lot of concerns with having to install things and deal with
I
regulatory
actually
issues.
remember that.
Yeah, you remember? Yeah, I forget when it died out, but it was quite a while back. But the initiative, the people involved, we were excited, and then it just died. But if you have something like that everyone can get behind, and money's only one aspect of it, right? The organization, the thought process, the motivation, and running the thing is one aspect. But once it's clear what it can do, we can attract money, or maybe we can attract money, and I think that's really part of the DAO, right? That's part of the reason we have it here, is so that we can maybe have that sort of financial help gravitate toward it and get enough momentum to do things like that.
Thank you, Tom. Um, all right. So I mean, we should keep in mind this and come back to this idea. Sal, never feel like how do you say? Anytime that you want to bring this topic to the conversation, feel free to do it. Okay, don't feel like that we don't want to hear it. Okay, we want to hear it and help. I personally don't know how right now. I can see in a not too far future, definitely, definitely we can do a lot. Okay, right now I'm not sure how we can help, but maybe maybe you will come to your mind a way to help. So anytime that you feel like I want to share this again, do it, please. Don't. It's never a problem. I see there is more people that joined, and Michael managed to make it. And Michael, I didn't understand if it's your birthday now or it's coming soon. If it's today, happy birthday.
Yeah, I turned the big 50 today.
Nice, happy birthday then.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you,
Happy
everyone.
birthday, mate.
I don't know if you said that you have some slides that you want to share. If you still want and if you still have them, maybe this is the time.
No, well, we'll do that another time.
All right.
I'll get a little bit better prepared for that one. But yeah, I'd love to talk about some topics for sure.
All right. I saw you, Lee, at one point. You turn on the camera, and now it's off. Maybe. And I see that you're new. Would you like to introduce yourself? We know you are listening.
Hey, you were talking to me?
Yes.
Lee?
Yeah. Nice to
Ah,
meet you, Lee.
hey, what's up? I introduced myself yesterday, remember?
Oh, no. Maybe because your camera was off. Can be.
Huh?
I'm not. I'm a visual person, or maybe your camera was on and then I forgot everything. So sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good.
It's I really don't remember. It's so bad. But so okay. So Lee was here yesterday. Nice to have you here again.
Uh, thank you,
Uh,
thank
all right. So anyone else wants to share any dreams or idea or challenge that you've been having with AI or anything that you want to know or
I
ask about
have
the
I
DAO?
have a similar one to Sol. I went to Madrid to run a workshop for El Prado Museum, and in the network there was this woman who's a lawyer that works with Colombia and Brazil, and very similar. We were discussing AI use, and she was saying how the preservation of cultures is so difficult. There's so many amazing ancient cultures that are disappearing really quickly, and they don't have fundings to do that because, of course, they are desperate in survival mode. The last thing they can put money into is in archiving and preserving their culture or creating links between the peoples. And when I described what we're trying to build here, her eyes went like that big. She was like, this would be amazing for us. Also because for her, the possibility of both preserve those sometimes tiny local about to disappear languages and connect them with other ones so they feel part of of this survival of cultures network. Yeah, so it's very when I was listening to Saul, although what he was describing was exacerbated by all the horrible things that have happened recently. But yeah, that would be super cool to start to think about what we can give people like this.
That's fantastic. Yeah, lots of ideas around that. That'll be great talk to have at a later date too.
Yeah.
We have the technology now. It's kind of weird. It's like, oh, flying cars around 2000 and what possibilities we're gonna have. I mean, we're here right now, so it's pretty amazing that it's like we could actually materialize this stuff, which is fantastic.
I feel I want to share something, but
Manolo, yeah.
I'm not sure where to kind of start. Um, we've been working on there's a few of us together, in fact. We've been working on things like operating systems and integrating AI into these operating systems. It's actually a hypervisor, in fact. So when we heard about the Resonant OS, we was wondering if we could take Resonance OS and integrate it into a hypervisor, and then use the hypervisor to spawn other VMs that have dedicated AIs in them, and then that AI that is in the hypervisor role will be to repair and maintain these VMs that have agents in them when they go wrong. So, I mean, that's one of the projects we've been working on. The other project is something. It's actually a database, and one of the, we was hearing about the Resonance DAO, and we realized that if some of these features that we was talking about yesterday, at the end of the call yesterday, comes about, would be very useful to us.
I'm always muted and trying to talk. Not muted. Sorry, Chivo, go ahead.
So I don't know if you were here when we announced that we are having the Friday automation and domotics meeting. N1H MD Geist.
Just call me Geist.
Guys, yeah. So Fridays we're having that new meeting. So I don't know if this could fit as well there.
I'll attend.
Yeah, that looks interesting as well. I'm getting my new Mac Mini today. It's arriving on my birthday. It said it was going to be in July, but it's coming today. So yes,
nice, man, nice.
Congratulations.
It is. It's a M4 Pro, 48 gigs, 1 terabyte.
Very nice. You're gonna get some fat models on there.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Now I just have to figure out how to back it up, like get it to that base 0. So, while I mess around with getting the right install on there and the right configuration of the different models. I was thinking of doing Resonant OS to be the main, and then Hermes. I wanted to mess around with Jarvis and Obsidian as well, and then running all local LLMs with the gateway to go out to the cloud for code and other stuff if needed.
Yeah, that's a good setup.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, today I actually got something cool myself. I got one of these robot chassis. I'm also into robotics and fabrication.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm wanting to integrate more of like the AIs and the agents with fabrication techniques.
Yeah, very good.
Like for 3D printing and other types of fabrication.
Yeah, yeah. CNC, 3D printing. The more that you can get the robotics to fabricate things, the better.
Oh yeah, for sure. Have you guys heard of Daniel Suarez? He wrote a book called The Daemon or Demon. Back, I think it was like 2005, but it's like narrow AI and stuff like that, and it's a really neat idea. So Damon, and then there was like Freedom TM, which was a second book, and he's wrote a couple of other really good science fiction kind of science-based books. But there's an AI that kind of breaks loose to kind of disrupt the whole system. So it's really cool to think about that right now. But yeah, was all micro manufacturing and all sorts of stuff. So those are neat books.
Sorry, Shimo, when you were talking, then I wanted to ask a question, but then I was muted, so my question never went through. You said that woman was with the big eyes and really interested. But did she share anything, any idea, anything that she could somehow visualize that what could be our help or integration?
Well, it just what they are trying to do, kind of not with pen and paper, but with the most basic digital tools. Any kind of agentic Because if wherever they are, there's a bigger, if we think we are under pressure, imagine if you are in Brazil on the borders of deforestation, so the level of big power that they are subject to. So for her, any kind of real autonomy that they could have in preserving their culture is brutal. So it changes the game for her because that would mean what now they have to beg for and always feel under threat and that they are the smaller player. It wouldn't be a fight anymore. It would be something that they own. She just couldn't get over the fact that they would be completely protected and sovereign in their AI. Because I mean, for you guys and you're in this world, it's mind blowing. But for people like this, it's beyond. They don't understand that that's a possibility. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, oh, is it, I had a question, if that's okay. So or clarification. So they're looking for utilizing AI to kind of, I mean, to represent the culture or the tribe.
No, so they're not looking for AI. AI wasn't in the picture.
Ah,
Okay. So this woman is Isabel Ramos. She's a lawyer and she works trying to defend these people in her free time, kind of. That's not her job. There's no money for that. So she tries to somehow help preserve because she works with culture and arts.
yeah,
She helps them with the archiving and preserving and interviews and
yeah.
culture conservation. So she has never thought of the power that this could be. It was just in the conversation. That's why her eyes were like that, because she is not something that they were thinking, I wonder what the application of AI could be with this.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be very
So
powerful.
it was the first time she thought the applications of AI, if it's completely sovereign, would be
Hmm.
brutal for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be a benefit or, if big AI, but if I don't know, at some point we'll probably be able to have like DAOs or AI, like controlled DAOs or in the loop with human interaction or decision making. But once you can have like an entity that can like actually have resources and material resources and like some of like the mission statement as in like the Resonant OS or something like that could be used to help protect cultures like that, or at least pay people, if you have like, if you think of like Star Trek and like the prime directives and all that stuff, like you could probably create that. I don't know if agents will have agency in the fact that they'll have legal rights or something, but at least if they're represented by a DAO and people are running that, maybe there's something there.
Well,
But
think
that'd be
I
cool.
think you can have maybe at least legal rights because in my mind, let's say I develop a really powerful AI and I pass it to my children, right?
Yeah.
And it's a piece of software and hard. It's an amalgamation of systems, right? I pass it to my children, and somebody attacks it, destroys my. It's like breaking my computer system at work. It's a piece of property. It's associated with me, so I think there are at least property rights associated. The other stuff is over my head and out of my pay grade to discuss, but at least property rights. And I think the identifying ability with the DAO to stamp it and associate it with you and that soulbound token, that's really helpful, at least in this circle.
Mhm.
Uh, I want to share this thing about this idea of property rights. So, and other ideas, they're all connected. In somehow, it's if you don't control the law, you are not in control. Okay, so you say I have the rights of whatever. Okay, the property rights, and then the law changes, then you don't have it anymore. So there is nothing you can do when you don't control the system. Within the DAO, instead, we control it. So we need to build a system that is disconnected by governments. Okay, we need to create something that is run on top worldwide, because if you do it decentralized, you can do whatever law, whatever things you want. Like you see with Bitcoin, cannot be stopped. No one can stop Bitcoin. Okay, this is the power of decentralization. So if you move your whatever entity, your AI, your system within the blockchain's
Ecos.
network, and somehow it's totally protected. Nobody can stop it. Okay, there is no law, there's nothing that you can do. I mean, you can create a law, but then it's decentralized. You can't control it. Okay, they can control with law us as a human, us as an entity, but they can't control something that is decentralized. So in some scenario, that is what is needed because most of us live in country where we are safe, protected. It's all good. We are not at risk. In some other country where all those problems we are talking about, it doesn't work in that way. Okay, so the government in Brazil, it's actually they're investing in deforestation. They are part of the problem. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not solving it. They're creating the problem. So you see there is a disconnection between what the people wants and what the government wants,
Yeah.
and probably Haiti is the same. There is a lot of places where there is a conflict, so we can't think, oh yeah, but there is the law. Yeah, the law if it's not for you, it's it doesn't work in that way. But with blockchain, with decentralization, with the DAO, we can go a layer on top, which they can't control, and therefore we can fix those problems because of this reason. So that's where we need to look into because they are in this problem because they're not protected by the government. That's why they are in that scenario.
Right,
So
right.
we need to build that on top where the government cannot control, but we can control and create an economy that they can participate even without the government approval. Okay,
Hmm.
that is how you get out of
So then, yeah.
yeah.
If it's like cultural, like saving cultures, what the value of that is, if you could extrapolate that value, especially if you're training. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
No, don't worry. Go ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, like saving that value. I mean, there's just going to be different ways of extrapolating value out of history and cultures and stuff like that. So it's an interesting problem for sure.
When you say extrapolating value, meaning monetizing value or
Mm,
extrapolate or something else?
cultural value, like changing the script of like what we associate it with value. So if AI or how AI and LLMs are trained, and learned, and like if ideas and creation of those ideas and that inferencing and what people come up with can be just you know exploited in from AI, then you have to protect it. And then if people can create their own AIs that mass amount of people, like for here in the States, if it's like a Trump AI or something like that, right, where they're going to clean all the data that they want to clean, so that's where you go to and pull out history, right? You don't know what's true or what's not. You have to need a way to save that history, and being able to save that and then pull out and associate ideas, theories, and stuff like that from these cultures. That might be something in the future. I don't know. I'd have to work on that a little bit. But if anyone else wants to add,
Yeah, kind of going on a bit about the future. I was thinking that if you follow the logical conclusions with how these agents and LLMs are, you got the glasses that are coming out. They're already talking about putting like AI features. It's the logical next conclusion. It's going to be they're going to have agents in your glasses. If you carry that even further forward, you're going to have, I don't know how many years in front I'm talking about. It could be like 20 years or something. But you're going to have like neural devices,
yeah,
and you're going to have the LLM or the AI agent in your head.
that's scary, but
We
interesting.
have those. We have those. It's called Neuralink. Those are rolled out in the United States. They're
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it
but
for
I
people with
mean, like
yeah.
as in, like everybody has it, and all these LLMs are all kind of connected together, and they're talking to each other. You can understand what the implications socially it's going to bring.
Yeah.
To be honest, when it gets rolled out properly, it's not going to be that different to what we have now. Like,
Yeah.
you have a question now, you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do now. You go on your phone, you type into Google, you get the answer. The only difference is that you won't be holding your phone. You'll just have the answer. Controls of data, controls of social media, and all the rest of it will be similar or exactly the same as how the controls are now. Who controls what the answer is when the agent comes back on Google and says, this is the answer? How truthful is that? It's the same controls now, it'll be the same controls then. It's just going to be sit through on a different format. And really, the main thing is making sure that everyone who is building these things either has the intent in mind of who's going to be in control of it, i.e., is the user going to have ultimate control over the implant in their own brain? Did the user choose what they wanted to put on that information? Do they have sovereign control over it? Or is it going to be controlled by some larger corporation which they're beholden to? That's going to be where we, the sort of people like us who build these sorts of things. But, people are going to walk
That's
around
why
with
it's
Google
so
glasses
important.
with AI chips. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a much bigger problem than that because what we're already getting with Google Gemini Live, you're going to have that in AR glasses, and it's not going to be answering your questions. It's going to be proactive, watching everything you do, connects it to your health tracker. So every time you open your fridge, it'll tell you, maybe you had too much pizza last night. You should eat this, or do you want me to order this? Or, see this doctor. So it's going to be a lot of involvement in your life. So, yeah, knowing
That's what we want.
exactly.
That's what everyone wants. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
but
build
you
that
want to
thing
have
right now for
control over
myself.
that. Yeah, are you
Me
okay
too.
with
Me too.
Google offering your first suggested search on Google when you do a search? So, if you want it to be free, you're the product. So we gotta have to get
Well,
used to
yeah.
that as well.
Well, data sovereignty and our individuality, like I think some of what Manolo is talking about too in his manifesto is like that human centered kind of human decision making. So like if we can protect our data and all that stuff that is now given away for free, but we control it, right? So like our own local database of storage of information, our health data, whatever, and we are the gatekeepers of it. That's where then, we'd be able to kind of get something for it, if that makes sense.
Well,
Perhaps.
let me,
Honestly, I don't think privacy is going to be a thing anymore soon because with Windows already could hack into anything. You could collect your data from 5G towers, from the way the signal bands around you. They could pick up your DNA from a fingerprint run, like your insurance company, whoever wants to know. Like, there's just so many. It has to be legal protections, but again, the corporations really care about those.
It's going to have
So
a lot of people under control as well. I mean, can you imagine somebody with like these glasses with the AI and it's thinking it's giving you the answer, who has maybe like learning difficulties? Can you imagine if they like deny such a person?
it's not even somebody with learning difficulties, just somebody who doesn't know specifics in the domain. If my mother asks for medical advice and
Broad
it tells her
spectrum, yeah.
that, or tells her, I suggest this doctor because he suggested. And, so it's things like that. It's going to affect everybody. Even if you know what you're talking about, you still don't know everything in the field. Yeah, you're going to, right now, they're going to be careful with it because they want to build confidence. But once that's in place, but who knows what else is going to be available by then? Hard to predict.
Yeah, I think the big difference is if it's a technology that I control or is a technology that someone else controls. Because having, glasses that can help me, but then it's my agent that suggests me things, okay, with my data, with my, I wrote the system prompt, so I control and I know what this agent is telling me. Then I can trust it
Yeah,
and
not
feel,
saying completely personal data. Obviously,
yeah,
your video stream should be private, but I'm
exactly.
just
So,
saying there's so many ways to collect data that not as private, but
yeah, I
enough
mean,
for that corporations care.
those I lived in London for many years. Okay, so London is the one of the most controlled city in the world, if not the most controlled city in the world. The amount of
More in
camera per
China.
capita is just insane.
Multiple cameras on every street.
Yeah, there is. It's just insane. Okay, so and but then as soon as you go out of London, but even outside the UK, then everything changes. So there are some places, maybe where you live. You said in New York. I can't remember now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm Brooklyn. Yeah,
yeah. So there, like like London, you feel it. Okay,
cameras
it's
are.
different.
I
Okay,
couldn't tell you.
yeah. So I lived in Brooklyn for 3 months. My brother used to live there, so I went
Which part?
several times. I loved it, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So
I
there
mean,
is,
everybody has a cell phone. Every car has, we can have autonomous cars with like 50 cameras on them that can record everything. Who knows what Tesla's doing with that data? Maybe they're tracking your buying habits and everywhere you go, you know, 'cause that's pretty much that's what's going to be who they could market things to. I don't think they care about your personal video data as much, although they would like to see which products you're watching for longer. But, it's going to happen.
yeah. So there are gonna be some places that I'm really gonna, when you go in those places, you're gonna be, uh,
Honestly,
monitored.
in New York, I wouldn't mind some places like the subways should have a lot more cameras because the crazy things that go on here. So I'm not all against that, but it should be in spaces where you know you're being watched.
Yeah, yeah. But that's always the thing. Okay, security versus privacy. The two things cannot stay
Well, what kind of
easily
privacy do you
together.
need on the train? What are you going to be doing on the train that you're going to be worried about your privacy? Because if you're doing something that you're worried about, it's probably already a problem.
Yeah, I mean, privacy. Sometimes I don't want people to know where I'm going, okay, or what I'm going with, okay,
Well,
and
I'm
also
thinking
how I
more not.
dress
Although,
myself.
yeah, with the AI, it's going to be linked to everything. That's true. They could track you. I was thinking more like just have an AI. Like if something crazy goes off,
Yeah.
alert the proper authorities.
But
But
anyway,
yeah,
so
that's true.
technology that I control myself, it feels amazing because it can empower you. The problem when you don't control it, then there is a lack of trust. Then would you trust a corporation to have elements inside your brains? Then maybe
It's not
I
about me
wouldn't.
trusting
Personally, I
them. It's on
wouldn't.
me not thinking I have control over it. Like, yeah, I have Hermes radio locally, but again, it's something I'm using Claude. I'm using it, DeepSeek. Who knows what they're doing with it? For me personally, my privacy, the boundary I have, if it doesn't cost me money, I really don't care. Like if they don't have access to my financial data or can, do something with it, the rest I really don't care.
So let's move to talk a little bit about the DAO. We have 35 minutes left, and it would be nice to hear a little bit from you if you had a chance to read what's the name, the white paper. I'm gonna share it again. Let me find the link. And I don't know if any of you had a chance to read the white paper.
Read it twice, Manolo. Actually listened to it in my voice stream.
But
Oh,
did
I
you
got
read? So you didn't read it yourself. You had an
no,
AI
no,
reading for you.
no, no. No. I read the actual paper. Read the actual paper.
Okay, nice.
Did
So
not fit into my eye. I was just joking. Only joking.
uh, I'll share the link in the description if you haven't checked it out. That is the first draft of the white paper, and explain what we're building and a little bit of a roadmap in the sense also what we're expecting to do in and when. It doesn't go super deep on everything, but they should be able to give a really good understanding of what we are doing. Uh, the,
I
the,
found it. I found it to be a good, clear explanation of the token types. The tokenization that really helped because I've put it all together before, but this was I think, a more concise representation for me.
Yeah. Do you have any question about it?
So the token types, you know,
On
I
anything?
assume no, okay. Uh, well, regarding those, so when we start establishing those, uh, and there's going to be governance over those, like who and how do we mint those, and who and how do we govern those, and get to a point where we can actually start using this in practice. Like, how do we get to step one where I can exchange a token with Michael, and he can help me with a couple of background images that I need on my website? Or Michelle, I'm sorry, Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, those token exchanges is gonna be pretty easy. Okay, so the first step is token distribution. Okay, we need the community to own the token so they can then you can exchange it. So first step is distribution. So the distribution is gonna be at the moment as a system of reward for whatever we do. We need to find a way to, for example, even reward our time here in those Zoom call. So, for example, we are here. We spent the Zoom is capable of extracting how much time we've been part of this call, if we've been interacting the call or whatever. Okay, so we can create an AI that score our contribution to these calls and then say, okay, you receive, just to say a number, okay, you receive 50 tokens, you receive 30 tokens, um, you didn't say nothing, but you get 100 tokens, and we don't know why AI decided to do it. Okay, so the idea here is we need uh, to find a fair way to distribute those tokens. Okay, and we should discuss what is the fair way, because I was joking about you didn't say anything, you received 100 token, but in the sense measuring contribution doesn't mean always acting. Okay, the action is not always contribution. Even silence is contribution. Okay, even just be part of this right now means that you have nothing to say, but you are learning, and learning is contribution. So you see what I mean? So we need to find a fair way of distributing this token, whatever level we are. Uh, and it's not easy, okay? Because an action it's easy to measure, a non-action is really hard to measure. But it's something that if we unlock that part, we create an economy that is giving value to things that human were not capable of valuing before. So it's something that is extremely important. So the first step, anyway, the first phase is token distribution through contribution. Then, and to do it, like I said, we need to understand what kind of how we measure contribution. And then the second part, now you have the moment that you receive the token is in your wallet. Okay, so you can do whatever agreement with Michelle and say, look, Michelle, would you do this for this amount of token? And Michelle would say yes or no, right? And maybe say ask for more token or whatever. Okay, so you find a deal and you swap those token privately, and nobody can say anything. Okay, you don't need the DAO to be involved. Or you can say, okay, let's create a smart contract where I put the token here, and when your work is done, the smart contract pays you. Okay, and that is another thing. Or we can say, I let's do our agents do this interaction, so we don't even need to manage tokens, okay, or deal with the problem. So I need a software from you. I explain to my agents the kind of software. My agents come to yours because you have a more powerful machine, because of whatever. Okay, your expertise or whatever it is. Okay, my agents come to you, and then they exchange the service, and they exchange token as well. Okay, so that is agents to agents economy. Something that we need to find a way to test and experiment, because if we start doing it, we will be the first, basically in the world, actually building an economy around the agents. Because at the moment they build the protocols, but there is no economy around the agents. Okay, there is nothing happening. Okay, but if we start doing it, we will have the experience and know how to do this. What are the real challenges? What are the real problems? Okay, so this is. Uh, know-how that happen within our community, and we all of us learn something that is important, and we can only learn this within a community. Uh, so those early steps actually are not that complicated. Okay, we can all do this. The early version of Resonant OS had already those smart contracts. Now, what I want to do, because I wanted to change some important elements inside the DAO, and I want to rewrite the DAO. Uh, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But we are not far from this early part. What is complicated is understanding the value of this token. Okay, because the value of the token to have a value inside the market means that you are able to sell the token for another currency. Okay, that's how we know the value of things. Okay, we need to measure it against something else. And the first step, well, what we are going to do now, because we are not going to be able to change the token with, for example, with dollars. Okay? There is not a way to swap it at this stage. But what is possible to swap is for work, okay? So for services, for products. And therefore, we as an individual, we say, okay, we are going to try to understand what is the right price of this token. So each one of us will try to do it. So we can say, even just to say a number, okay, we can say, okay, one token is $1, or one token is 10 cents. I think they call it, right? 10 cents. Or one token is $10. Okay, so we can decide what is the price and say, okay, let's agree to this together and let's work around that scenario. So it's kind of a community effort to understand this. But some people can say, yeah, it's $10, but I don't know. For me, it's not $10. For me, it's just monopoly more tokens. So if I need to do some serious work with monopoly token, I need to be paid 3 times the amount I get usually pay, because I take the risk and so on. So people will say, okay, I'm gonna ask 3 times my fee. You see what I mean? So the pricing something is going to be really messy at the beginning until you have a way to measure it against something specific. And that something specific usually is an external currency. So it can be Bitcoin, it can be another token, or can be a dollar or whatever. Okay, but the moment that you measure with something that is easy to swap, then you have the price. Okay, that is the price become fixed to that part. I mean, fixed in the sense that always the price will oscillate, but at least as a reference, then we can all agree on that part. So if just to say something, if I write a song and I want to sell it for, I don't know, $1 per track. Okay, then I know, okay, $1 equivalent of my in token will be, I don't know, one token, and then and then I will price my song for one token. Okay, that is the dynamic. So at the moment, not having a liquidity pool, which is how we swap token with an external currency, it works like a bank. Okay, so you go to this, but it's a software. You go to that software, you give some token, and then you swap it for dollars, for example, and vice versa. So until we don't have that liquidity pool, we can't do this. The problem of creating a liquidity pool is that you need liquidity. Okay, so you need money, and there should be a lot of money inside. Otherwise, the liquidity pool will really change price really rapidly. So just to give you an example of how it works, let's say I have a liquidity pool with this 1,000 of our token and $1,000 on the other side. Okay, the moment that, for example, I want to sell 100 of my token. Okay, I put the token inside, so there are 1,100 now, and I take $100 from here, and now there are $900 here. So now the equal price would be the 1,100 tokens are equal to $900. So the value of the token went down. Okay, can you understand this? It's a balance. Okay, they always need to balance. So if I put a lot of token here, that means they need to balance with the other part. That creates the problem of if you have a small liquidity pool, even $100 can move it. Okay, but if you have a large liquidity pool, you put $100, it doesn't move. Because, and also if we have a community that always buy and sell, and somehow it stay always around the same price. This is exactly the same that happens inside banks. Okay, it's not different. The banks do the same. So when you see the price of euros versus the dollars change every day. In the morning, the bank open, decide the price, and they stay fixed for the day. And then the day after, they reopen with a different price. Okay, that's how they deal with it. We have a software that does the same thing, but it doesn't do on the morning. It does on every single exchange we do. Okay, and balance automatically, constantly. So that is the challenge. So to start having a liquidity pool, you need a lot of money. And how do we find those money? There is different ways. Okay, there are going to be people that are willing to, for example, buy the token. Let's say there is investors that say, okay, I want to buy $1 million of this token. Okay, I give you $1 million. Now, as a DAO, we give it without liquidity pool. We give you $1 million, and now we have $1 million of $1 million. Now we can open $1 million liquidity pool, for example. Or we, as a community, we can say, okay, let's put each one of us, just to say a number, $100. Okay, so we put $100, and now we have let's say that we are 1,000, we have $100,000 liquidity pool. Okay, that's how we can start something like this. Any questions?
It's not really a question. I could see problems that would arise in the financial system. Because if you're paying, like, let's say a smart contract, let's say I pay you or your agent to generate whatever. And what happens if you don't do it or if the quality is not up to my standards? How does that get resolved? Okay, if it's not done, I guess the smart contract will take care of it. What if the quality is not right? What if there is extraneous circumstances? So there has to be some kind of insurance system and jurisdiction, judicial system to resolve disputes. So this could get complicated because the actual price might just, after it's large enough, resolve itself just through free market.
Yeah,
But
so
I could see a lot of
yeah, the complication it's already exists. All those things that you're saying already exist in society, right? So you
yeah,
go to
yeah.
a
It's
restaurant.
problems in any
Yeah,
financial
yeah.
system. Yeah,
But in some cases, you go to a restaurant, you don't like the pizza that they give you. You have to pay for the pizza anyway. Okay, there is no like I'm not gonna pay. No, that is you agree to go inside the
yeah.
restaurant, and now that is the bill. Okay,
But
you like
Manolo, I think his question is more about like you get served a pizza and there's a rat's tail on it. That's not that's not up to quality. That's not up to standard. Where does the
Yeah,
standard
the
sit?
thing is,
Who
immediately
differentiates it?
yeah,
you get
that
an
is
immediate
And I know
response
this
because
is hard
before you
questions, but
pay,
that's yeah.
so
so.
you'll have to pay. You could do request. If you place an order for something in advance, it's like ordering from Amazon, and if you don't know what product you're gonna get or when or what quality, like yeah, issues will arise.
Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of different solutions that we need to think and decide together. Okay, but think about the credit. How do you call it? The
Oh,
rating system.
credit
So
score,
you
yeah.
come to my
Um,
restaurant, I start having a lot of 5 stars. You feel like I feel confident. I go to the restaurant. That restaurant, another restaurant next door, you go 1 star, half star. You feel like maybe maybe I shouldn't go there. Okay, so that could be a way. But another thing here is the smart contract works that if you go, let's say, to the restaurant, you pay in advance, then you receive your food, and there is a rat, dead rat on top. Okay, the you can dispute, the smart contract won't pay that person. Okay, so the money will be blocked, and the DAO has control over the smart contract. So you can create a dispute and allow the DAO to look at the problem and say, yes, there was a rat inside your plate. you got the money back, that person probably I don't know, we can do something about it.
They'd lose reputation
Yeah,
by
lose
having the
exactly.
dispute fail against them. Yeah, and I assume there'd be some sort of like a review system where you review someone's work and you say, yeah, you did a great job, 5-star review, here's your review. Or no, you didn't even do the work, or it didn't happen, or failed, or whatever, negative review, which I assume also would come with a dispute system. You know, if someone puts a bad review on you for no good reason, then you can dispute that. I'm sure we
Yeah,
can
but
argue this down to the nth degree.
it's if you see even Uber, right, has both version direction review. Okay, so you act really nicely inside the Uber car, and the driver act really nicely for you. Then of course they find a way to to make it to break the system, but it's that is the learning part. We might have in the future also AI monitoring, okay, impartial AI that can monitor the transaction and see and give a little bit of advice or resolve the problem there and there. But those are all things that we need to implement. And more the problem, more the system become complex, and more there is all those elements to look into. What we should leverage is AI, okay, wherever it is possible. Okay, so the DAO itself should have their own AI that is it knows the manifesto, the rules, and so on, and then can monitor the decisions. But yeah, you can see that is it is pretty complex to create an economy.
Yeah,
That's
Manolo,
why.
you say, do you have any questions? And I have too many and none. Like I don't understand. I don't understand how our reality works. You know, there's so much trust in society in a banking system that doesn't make any sense. But it floats because of the trust inbuilt and the power we give. So for me, it's about piloting and making it work. We are a community, and it's for us to make it work. It's when I look at what you're doing, it sounds really strong to me and it makes sense. But it is in the making that we will execute it. I don't know what to ask. Like all the conversation, it makes sense, and we need to discuss the rat's tail, which should become a proper named item in our economy. And it makes me wonder, but it's good to discuss it. But if I don't question everything, it's because of this contradiction between the reality in which we live and what you're building kind of makes sense anyway.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's pretty complex, but someone has to do it.
Well,
That's why.
Manolo, for your white paper, again, like I've said, I've heard you explain it a couple different ways through a couple different papers, and understanding things like the reputation token and how that impacts this whole scenario we're discussing, right? Someone's, contract contribution, their resource contribution, and then the reputation that goes along with that, and that's bi-directional, intentionally, right? And soul bound, so you can't run from it. So it's kind of like a built-in, Better Business Bureau rating system, star system, all in one. It's fundamental. If that's got to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, all problem always happen when people are not honest, right? Because it would be life would be easy. You don't need car insurance, let's say, because until I mean, no insurance for the damage, but insurance if it gets stolen. Okay, that kind of car insurance. You wouldn't need it if people would be not stealing cars. But and therefore, every system would be much more simpler if the restaurant always will give you great food. If you at the restaurant always will be a nice client. Okay, so everything would be nice. So the problem now happen when there are those little rare occasion where things are not they don't go right, and that create a lot of complexity, but that is the reality, and that's how it is. So we need to address those complexity, but the first thing that we do is creating this reputation system where you have because it's not reputation because it can be seen in a wrong way. Okay, it's not like we monitor each other. Okay, and we rank each other because that could be dangerous. But what is the reputation system is how we contribute constructively to the community, which is different. Okay, so the reputation is not that I give you the a part of the ranking about your service. Okay, but the reputation is something towards the community. It's not towards an individual. Okay, so what is my reputation towards the DAO? Okay, how much I contribute, how much I help other people, and so on. Okay, that is the reputation that I need to build. Uh, and once you have a higher reputation, you have access to your vote to count more. So let's say that we start working. Okay, we start having reputation. Then I go to the restaurant and I vote and I give a 5 star. My 5 star might value more because I've been investing for a long time inside the community. I show that I was contributing and honest and so on. So my 5 star has a value. If someone comes from the outside, just join the community, go to the restaurant, I give 1 star. Okay, it might be right, but can we trust that person? Can we trust the value of that 1 star of someone that maybe just create 100 accounts, join to destroy that business through giving 0 stars to the business? What's the value there? So it's really complex, those things. But the moment that we create this reputation system, you have one single account. There's like one single life in this game. Okay, it's not like you can have respawn another life. Okay, there is one life. So you play this game with one single life, and you need to improve the ability of this character that you are having, and you build reputation and so on. So you start having skin in the game. So now you are in somehow incentivized in contributing, because the contribution also means a financial return for you. So in this way, you are aligned because you want to make, most of us want to make more money rather than less. Okay, so you have an incentive to actually be honest towards the community. That is how we push alignment. But the financial alignment is only one, because there is other benefits within the community. Okay, the voting power is one, for example, access to services, access to how do you call it? A financial contribution towards your projects, and so on. So there is a lot of way to align ourselves to build something together instead of destroying, instead of going against each other.
When do these things need to be decided? Like, I was reading up about how DAOs work and how tokenization stuff works, and a lot of this content is programmed into the DAO before any of the tokens are really made, before anything goes live. A lot of the rules and the laws and how the programming of the actual smart contracts works is all built in and started at the early beginning, and sort of the whole cohesive nature of it is that it's all locked in so that it can't be changed unless everyone votes and everyone decides, and the what do you call yourself,
Custodian.
the custodian helps basically make it all happen. How and where and how much detail do we need to establish in the system before we even begin?
The more the better, but it's also the fact that you learn by doing. So we will find out about problems and things that need to be improved while using it. So you can't design everything. It's impossible. You design when you have the problem. You say, okay, there is this thing that we need to do. But some basics we already know. Okay, so we need a wallet to exchange tokens. We need a way to measure our contribution. We need to define how many kind of contribution exists, any category, let's say. Okay, so just to give an example, there is the financial contribution. Any exchange of token is a financial contribution. Okay, but the financial contribution is the only one that has less power compared to other kind of contribution. So let's say the social contribution, the one that you help you help the community basically. Okay, so that kind of contribution has a higher value than the financial one, because the social one is done by humans. Okay, the financial one is done with money. Okay, people can have more money than others, and therefore they can do higher contribution, and therefore they could basically buy power. So to avoid buying power, we recognize financial contribution, but we also make it less powerful than someone that put hours, okay, in a contribution. So contribution through work, hours, let's say, has more value. Contribution also, like I was saying earlier, there's the problem of the inactive contribution, okay, or passive contribution, or contribution that doesn't produce anything, like, for example, learning. The moment that you learn, it's at the moment in our society, to learn you need to pay, okay, which that is the idea. And in our society, what we should say is, to learn, you're gonna get paid. Okay, if you want to learn something, the community will say, okay, this is your way of contributing. You're getting better, improving, and so on. So we pay you. So we recognize that effort as a contribution.
I would love a system that would recognize the work that you do. So there's an AI overseeing what you do and how you interact, and it would recognize over at this point in this month, Sam learned how to program this, this, and that, and then at this month he picked up a contract from someone and he produced this object and did that. And then in this month, he then produced this article or this tutorial or this school lesson or whatever. And then in my overview, the AI has recognized that I learned something, I applied a project, and I taught something, and I, as a person, have developed. And now I have gained that skill set, and now it is recognized that I am more valuable because I've gained that skill set using the system, and the AI has recognized it throughout the whole thing, and it's like leveled up my profile, it's added that as a recognition of my thing, but it's all based on the fact that the AI can see it all through the smart contracts. I'd love to see that. That would be like a really cool
That's a fantastic use case. Yeah.
Yeah, because one of the biggest things that I feel in my life at the moment, like right now at work, I'm due for a pay review, and right now, like I'm obviously I've got steps to get there before I get that pay review, but right now I feel like I am doing more work and being more effective in my job than I'm being compensated for, and that's because there is no, like, obviously because I'm due the pay review, but at the same time, for every little thing that I do, my bosses don't see it. I'm just doing the work. I'm learning the tools. I'm doing the work. I'm applying it. And all of this goes unnoticed to an extent because it's just what I'm doing and I'm just producing it. But if there was a system that had measurable controls that could like recognize when I learned something, recognize when I applied it, recognize the effect of the business or of the objective and see the value of that, and then apply that automatically across the board and then show that to the person and give them those results, that's an amazing like motivator and benefit. And that's where AI can really do that, I think.
It's sort of an inversion of what we have now. Like in the United States, kids are paying 30, 40, 60, 100,000 for college, right? It's a huge disincentive when you know you're about to go into massive debt. But as a society, we want educated people because it makes society better. But we did disincentivize you by, burdening you with 100,000 in debt. So it's a great inversion, right? Attract people, get them to be educated. When they're educated, then they can help the team, right? Team Earth.
And the system has really arbitrary controls about recognizing when someone has actually gained that education level or that experience level and can apply it, especially when you go into an interview room with an employer. They're like, what have you done? And you basically, if you didn't get that final ticket of saying, I've got that degree, you got nothing, because you don't have that final word that the employer recognizes, because the employer recognizes that little last piece of paper. That's what they know the entire detail of what your experience and what you're learning means. But if you don't have that, there's practically nothing, or your employer is confused, or you've got to spend a long time explaining what you actually have in your value. But if the token system can know your whole value and know your experiences and know, yes, he is qualified to do this task that you want him to do because of these experience reasons, and the system can read the actual like contract of that person and be like, yep, this person has done this work before, he's qualified, he's got these stars and reputation directly related to this point, you should employ him because he knows how to do the task and he's proven he can do it.
And that's intuitive, because that's exactly what I would love to see for some people, to be able to, start building that and educate themselves. And it's essentially like a version of like your online portfolio, right? You're building your online resume, and it's tied to your tokens, and so someone can track your participation in projects regardless of the compensation. But here's your participation in the project and your reputation, and you can see what's been done. And it's just there in the registry.
So this is the moment where I think Chimo should should explain clock what we've been doing with this project, because we have been working for many years on a way to recognize the invisible skills, let's say. Chimo, you want to share a little bit?
I'd love to give a 1 hour presentation, but we only have 2 minutes left in this meeting.
It's true.
Check
But yeah,
that.
go ahead. Not the 2 hours, the little bit.
Summarize in 2 minutes. Go.
So basically, Manolo and I, we have worked all over the world, acknowledging the practice from people, especially in the creative industries, but not reduced to that. In the end, we would have somebody that was working in robotics for farming, for instance, as an example, but recognizing the practice, the quality, the leadership, the community building, the innovation, and establishing parallels with academia and giving them a university degree or a postgraduate or even a doctorate, which would freak out everybody, while academia shells out honorary degrees to any idiot that has shown up on the cover of a magazine. But people that have been contributing for 20 years to society, building communities, doing amazing jobs in research, music, education, whatever, that's shocking. So yeah, we've been doing that, and it's been really beautiful because you find people that are incredibly valuable to society, to their community, that have created methodologies, that have created, generations of learning processes, that they don't believe in the value they have to society because society has told them for so long that they have no actual value, like somebody that is a doctor by Harvard would have. So for us, it was super satisfying to have a community recognizing what you do, and then also having a university accredit that in a pretty paper they can hang on the wall. And people were transformed by that process, which yeah, it was quite cool to see it happen.
So this is something that basically we have many years of experience in different parts of the world doing this. So it's something for sure that we will somehow implement at one point with the Resonant DAO. So now I see Naomi that joined this call, and now it's your turn, Naomi, to introduce yourself. We know you're there.
I did it yesterday. Come on, guys.
Let me do the honors. That's my daughter. And she has a crying baby right now. So she said she's texting me. She said, I can't, I have a crying baby.
Oh,
All right.
cute.
All right, nice. So, yeah, good excuse. And yeah, it's not fair to have your father protecting you, though. Eh? So next call, please introduce yourself properly. Um, all right. So I think, yeah, we are 1 minute over our call. Sorry. So, Diomi, you are the expert in cryptocurrency, from my understanding, right? Sol, you need to answer for her, I guess. You're muted.
She's been doing for a couple of years now. Well, she's been doing it for 3 years, but for a couple of years now, she's been doing a lot of day trading with crypto. I don't understand exactly what all that she does, but she sits and she explains to me in the graphic detail all of the different, when it does this, it means this, and when it does that, it means that, and if it does this, get out. I mean, I don't,
All right.
anyway.
Okay. Okay, it's all clear. I've been doing this for also for different years. I mean, I discovered Bitcoin in 2013, and since then I got like full in and like learning both the technology but also the trading. Anyway, so thanks a lot, everybody.